Hey Kid Point! This month we are talking about self-control. Self-control is choosing to do what you should even when you don't want to. We trust God no matter what. Even when we face unexpected circumstances, we can respond to them with self-control. We can trust that we don't need to rush in or take matters into our own hands. We can trust that God is working. Self-control is a fruit of the Spirit. As we follow Jesus throughout our lives, the Holy Spirit transforms us and helps us live more like Jesus. We can follow His example and choose to do what we should do instead of what we want to do. The Holy Spirit can give us the power and wisdom to show self-control. Before we jump into our Bible story, let's stand up and get ready to worship.
There is no other. You are forever. You turn my morning into dancing, and I can smile again, 'cause I have joy. Oh, oh, oh. Hey! Let the celebration begin. Make a joyful noise unto Him. Come on, everybody, let's give Him praise, for He is good. You have given me a joy that won't stop and will never leave, so I will praise You with gladness, for You are good, Lord. You took away my pain. You turned my morning into dancing. Now I can smile again, 'cause I have joy. Whoa, come on. Oh, let the celebration begin. Make a joyful noise unto Him. Come on, everybody, let's give Him praise, for He is good. You have given me a joy that won't stop and will never leave, so I will praise You with gladness, for You are good. You have given me a joy that won't stop and will never leave, so I will praise You with gladness, for You are good. You turn my sadness into gladness. You turn my sorrow into joy. And now I'm singing and I'm dancing, and I will shout for joy. Oh, You turn my sadness into gladness. You turn my sorrow into joy. And now I'm singing and I'm dancing, and I will shout for joy. You turn my sadness into gladness. You turn my sorrow into joy. And now I'm dancing, and I will shout for joy. Oh, You have given me joy that won't stop, so I will praise You with gladness, for You are good. You have given me a joy that won't stop and will never leave. I will praise You with gladness, for You are good, Lord. For You are good. For You are good, Lord. He is good.
The Bible. It's 66 books of history, stories, letters, and poetry that fit together to form God's one big story. The epic adventure of how He created us and loves us so much that He made a way to rescue us. As we travel through the Bible, from Genesis to Revelation, we discover people who met God and found their lives changed forever. Now, for an amazing story. Inspired by the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 24.
David had been chosen by God as Israel's next king, but for a while, Saul was still king. David served King Saul and won many battles for him. The people loved David.
Hey, David, you're so fine, you blow our mind. Hey, David! Hey, David!
Saul, however, was deeply jealous of David. In fact, he even tried to kill him. David escaped into the wilderness, where around 400 men came to join him. People who were in trouble or owed money.
A merry band of misfits.
But Saul still saw David as a threat. When he heard that David and his men were camped in the desert of Maon, Saul took soldiers to chase after.
They're right behind us, David.
Quick, we'll head around the mountain.
Just as Saul and his men were closing in on David, Saul received word that the Philistines were attacking Israel.
Oh, phooey.
Saul was forced to stop the chase and deal with the Philistines. David and his men could breathe a sigh of relief.
There's a safe place near En-Gedi. Maybe Saul will finally leave us alone if we hide out there.
But as soon as Saul had dealt with the Philistines, a messenger brought news.
David is in the desert of En-Gedi.
Aha! We've got him this time. Gather 3,000 of the best soldiers from all of Israel.
But, Your Majesty, David only has 400 men.
3,000, and not one less.
Saul set out once more, determined to wipe out his rival.
I bet that pipsqueak is hiding out near the rocky cliffs of the wild goats.
Well, that seems oddly specific.
Yeah, he used to herd sheep.
In fact, David and his men have been staying near some sheep pens not far from the cliffs.
Saul, headed this way. He's got 3,000 soldiers.
Again? Why can't he leave us alone?
We can take him on. I'm worth 10 of his soldiers.
David could feel his anger boiling, but he took a deep breath.
No, we won't fight them now.
And we won't have a choice in about 6 minutes.
The caves! I want everyone inside! Stat!
David and his men hurried into a nearby cave that cut deep inside the cliffs.
All the way to the back!
They're here.
Outside, near the sheep pens, Saul had called a halt.
Take a break, men.
At that moment, Saul found himself in need of a royal outhouse.
I require a royal outhouse.
I believe there's a cave over there, Your Majesty.
I suppose it'll do.
Saul entered the cave. Far back in the cave, David and his men froze. Through the gloom, David could see the man who had tried to kill him and was now forcing him to live on the run.
What if he finds us?
I don't believe we're Saul's #1 priority at the moment.
He's alone. This is your chance.
God's handed your enemy over.
Don't let this chance just trickle away.
David's anger burned red hot as he crept up behind Saul, sword at the ready. But then, he forced himself to stop. Instead of attacking Saul, David sliced off a corner off the king's long royal robe. Saul left the cave with no idea that David was still inside.
Time to move out, men. This is the day we take out that whippersnapper David.
But at that moment, David emerged from the cave and cried out.
King Saul!
David?
David bowed low to the ground.
Why do you listen when men say David is trying to harm you? This day you have seen with your own eyes how the Lord handed you over to me in the cave. Some of my men begged me to kill you, but I didn't. I said, he is the Lord's anointed king.
Saul could only stare in shock as David held the piece of fabric he cut from Saul's robe.
Look at this. I cut off the corner of your robe, but I did not kill you. Yet you are hunting me down to kill me. May the Lord show that I'm not guilty of doing anything wrong. May he save me from you.
The truth cut Saul to the heart and began to weep.
Oh, you are a better person than I am. You have treated me well, but I've treated you badly. May the Lord reward you. I know for sure that you will be king. Now, promise me that you won't kill my family or wipe out my name from my family line.
David looked his enemy straight in the eye.
I promise.
Then Saul and his men returned home, and David and his band of misfits returned to their usual hiding place.